Lovely cushioned header. But Gerrard! Oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
Yes, guys, welcome back to Onto the Ball. I'm Scott, your host, joined as always for Liverpool podcast, James O'Brien. OB, we're still top of the league, but we're making hard work of it. We had a 9-point lead. It's evaporated to 2 points, albeit a game in hand. Is it a curse that this game is going to be played in February? I'd rather the points on the board. I just want to be ahead of the pack as much as we were. That nice feeling when we were 9 points ahead. I'm getting a little bit twitchy. I could do with Chelsea just doing one, to be honest. You tipped them to be our closest rivals last week on the last podcast. I thought it'd still be Arsenal, but Chelsea, they're just looking really good. But on to us, Liverpool 2, Fulham 2. What could have been Andy Robertson with his rash red card? Is Andy Robertson finished at top level football of winning leagues? That's what we're going to discuss in the next 20 minutes, half an hour. OB, I can't help but think it's another 2 points dropped off the back of the defeat snatched from the jaws of victory in the draw at Newcastle. It felt like a defeat, but we've dropped another 2 points at home.
Yeah, and I think it's frustrating on one side, but I also think that the fact that even though when we went down to 10 men, and we'll get onto the red card in a minute, but when we went down to 10 men, we still looked like we're the more likely at points in a game. I thought it was quite an even game, and that's pretty much testament to the drive and determination. I mean, we've been Liverpool fans for a long, long time, Scott, and let's be honest, in the past, we'd have lost that football game. We could recount lots of times over our history where we could have lost the game. A draw might not feel like the right result, but it actually shows that we're not going to lie down. And at the end, Liverpool were trying everything in their power to nick it. And it didn't come off. But, you know what I mean? You play for, what was it, over an hour and 10 minutes with like just a 10 men. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it's not an easy league.
We took a draw, wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when they went back down to being 2-1 down, you take the draw again, come from behind twice, showed spirit. We're 1-0 down and went down to 10 men. So that's that's a double blow. And at the end of the day, just still being able to get something out of the game shows the resolute nature of the squad. And Slot still had his team set up to try and score goals, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, definitely. A week's a long time in football. Definitely the Premier League following Liverpool. Games come thick and fast. The Champions League, we've got a midweek game against Southampton. But if anything, what we were purring over in the last 2 or 3 weeks is our defence, our ability to restrict the amount of chances. It feels like it's all gone a bit to pot. Now we've lost Konate. We've shipped in 2 against Southampton, 3 against Newcastle, 2 against Fulham at home. I'm not sure, are we enjoying these 3 p.m. kickoffs at Anfield? I remember we had to dig deep to beat Brighton about 4 weeks ago. It was more of the same. Saturday, 3 o'clock again. I'm just not liking this vibe at the minute. We need to get back to being tight in defence. Obviously, Alisson's come back. He was superb midweek. He couldn't do a lot on Saturday against Fulham again. But Konate is a huge miss, isn't he? I think we're both in total agreement that Gomez is a bona fide fullback who's filling in at centre-back.
Yeah, he is. He is. And it does also show that Kwanzaa's not entirely trusted by Slot, which is a bit of a worry considering most teams will have 3 or 4 centre-backs. It looks like we haven't really got a plan B that Slot's happy with. So I do think there'll be a move, maybe January, more likely the summer. But we've certainly got an issue there in as much as we've got 2 good ones. And ever since Joel left, we haven't really had a third one. We do need a third one. It's been proven in the past. 2019, we went and won the European Cup. And then 2020, where we basically went the whole season and we smashed everybody. And it's just like, you need 3. You need 3 because if one of them's injured, you can fill another one in. You've also got to be wary of minutes, and they'll certainly have 3 if they decide to finalise Van Dijk's contract. Because let's be honest, we're going to have to look after him in certain games, but it's worth that risk, in my opinion.
Diogo, Jota. It's always the same. Jota, Konate every season. Unfortunately for us as Liverpool fans, we've got to endure them being out for 2 to 3 months at a time. I'm not saying they're brittle. I'm not saying they're injury prone. Maybe it's just bad luck, but it's always the same. But Konate's out at the minute. But my God, were we glad to see Jota back on Saturday.
What a finish, Scott. I mean, it was a beautiful
Nunez
finish.
Hasn't got that in his locker, has he? Nunez would
hasn't.
not have been anywhere near that finish.
I'm not even sure that the pass was meant, if I'm being totally brutal about Nunez.
I said that for Nunez's assist against Arsenal, where he almost fell over himself to pass it to Salah.
Yeah,
it was almost by accident that he plays these passes, but you'll take it all day long. But
yeah,
Jota,
absolutely.
Jesus.
And Jota's got good balance above everything else. He's the opposite of what Nunez is, and he's got balance and composure. As soon as he drops his shoulder, you know what's going to happen. The defender can't stop him, and he's Jota the slaughter, isn't he? He just knows where the goal is. He is our main central striker without any shadow of a doubt, and we need him back. And I'm so glad to see him back, because I haven't been happy with Nunez's performances. I don't think many people have. I like the Diaz playing in the centre against was it Leverkusen that he played against in the centre?
Yeah,
and he looked really, really good. I'm not sure that's probably his favoured position. And I think it is nice of us to have options, whether it be Gakpo or Diaz, and then obviously Salah. And we've seen the return of people like Elliott, etc. So we've got options. I just think that central position is really, really key. And for me, Jota's by far number one of what we've got at the club. It's probably a place where we're at a place now where I don't think many people believe that Nunez is going to improve. So it's a case of Slot making a big decision in the next 7-8 months, really.
Nunez is a weird one, isn't it? I've likened him to Kevin Davies. You remember the Bolton striker?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
He went to Blackburn for big money, didn't he? From Southampton to Blackburn, was it? Big money. Yeah. And it just ended up, he wasn't the player they thought he was. He ended up going to Bolton. And I remember them just saying that it's all about his contribution. And he was invaluable to Bolton and Sam Allardyce. Bullying defenders, being up there on the top. Unfortunately, in his third season, Nunez, and even Slot's talking about it now, he's talking about he's not looking at his goal return. He's looking at what else he brings to the team, his energy, creating space for others. And it's almost when you mention about shit keeper, you call him a good shot stopper. Yeah, and it's like, exactly. Well, Nunez is in that bracket now. No one even expects him to score anymore in his third season. It's about what he brings elsewhere on the pitch. Jota is absolutely by far and away our first choice striker, and Nunez, if anything, will be filling on the left, filling in the centre anytime. But yeah, Nunez is absolutely abysmal.
Well, he's not got the ability to score a lot of goals or have little 10, 15 minute spells in a game where he's unplayable like Salah does, for example. He's all hustle and bustle. I think he actually dislodges other players in a system because he's a headless chicken at points. And that must be annoying for coaches where you've got a midfield set up and you've got him bombing back and making a stupid tackle or causing problems in the setup behind. And then I love his effort, and the crowd love his effort at points, and you can see that. And you can see it's not that he's not trying, Scott. I just don't think he's good enough. Incidentally,
that's all it is.
Yeah,
nice guy. Kevin Davies was a nice guy, and I bet his teammates love him in a way for definitely we were singing his praises when he come on against Man City. Well, that's exactly what we wanted: a headless chicken to be running around and pulling the defenders ragged for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
all he's got in his locker.
And bizarrely, though, he played particularly well against Real Madrid and City, which is hard to understand because there's other teams, lesser teams, and I know City are going for a bad patch, but certainly not a lesser team, are they? But there's lesser teams who he seems to go completely radio silent on. And it's like he doesn't know what to do to break down teams that are, I mean, they call it a low block, but I call it defending deep, sitting in a banks of four, really, really set up to make it hard for us. He seems to struggle in that type of game, whereas we've got other better options in them positions and forward positions in him where they can do it either way. So they can do it in the big games. You look at your Gakpo, certainly Salah, Jota, and Diaz, and they're all pretty consistent. Doesn't matter who the opposition is.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with Nunes seems to play better when there's a bit more space, and that tends to be against better teams. Whereas he seems to struggle when teams are just going, well, you ain't going to break us down.
Yeah. Cody Gakpo. I mean, we love our Dutch players, don't we, Obi? No one loves Wijnaldum more than me and you, and we're the same with Cody Gakpo. I absolutely love him. And what a rich vein of form he's in. Has he scored something like 7 goals in his last 9 games or something? He's just superb, isn't he?
He is. And the thing is about him is he's just a model professional. And he's got everything. He's got all the physical attributes. He clearly puts the effort in. He's good when we haven't got the ball. He's great when we've got the ball. He just works. He never looks as if he's complaining. Scores a goal, does a little salute, and everybody goes off happy. You know what I mean? It's just like, and he's one of them players that will fall under the radar. He'll probably never really get a song that's taken up by everybody or anything like that. But he's just so good at what he does every single game, and game in, game out, never lets you down, puts all the effort in. Sometimes it doesn't come off for him, but he's just so consistent in the way he's going at
Keeps
players.
Going, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And he's good in the air as well, Scott. He scores a lot of goals with his head.
Yeah.
Coming in at that far post. And that happened again, didn't it? So it's all good.
It's nearly Christmas, Obi. And what better time to talk about the ghost of Christmas past and present and Ebenezer Scrooge. I want to talk about potentially the Liverpool left back of past and present, because it was all on show on Saturday. Robertson, he might be our past now, and his almost namesake Robinson on the opposite flank for Fulham. He looked absolutely superb, wasn't he? And we spoke in the group chat. He's 27 now, 28 next birthday. It could be now or never for a move to a Big Six club, and I would not mind at all if it was to us. I think he's absolutely incredible. Energy to burn.
It looks like he's grown as well. He's grown through his development. Looks like even if he gives us 2 or 3 good years, Scott, I'm thinking this season, next season, if we bring somebody in, pay a bit of money, and he gets over the line and gets in pushing forward, Slot can then go and look for the next big thing at left back after that. You know what I mean? But that guy's superb. He's probably their best player. He's probably the one with the most, the biggest reputation in the whole Fulham team. And for me, he's the one that stand out in a position that we need the most.
Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he? So what about Robertson? Is he truly finished? I mean, he had a little bit of a rest. Tsimikas had a little run of 2 or 3 games, but his confidence is shot. His touch is all over the place. His energy looks like it's dipped. Whether that roasting by Saka against Arsenal 4 or 5 weeks ago has affected him mentally, I don't know what it is, but he's just a shadow of the player he is. And that mistake on Saturday and then the ultimate red card coming from it was just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know you think he's probably done, but I'm just wondering if the injury's taking a little bit longer to get over. And I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. The bottom line is only the medical team and Slot and the coaches will actually know what's really going on there, whether it's just going to take a little bit longer or whether there is a dip in his stats, because they've all got these vests on now that monitor everything, and they'll know if he's not running as much. They'll know if he's dipped off in pace. They'll know if his sprints. But on the eye, it looks like there's a dip. It does look like he's not quite where he was. But then I suppose the other question is he being asked to play in a slightly different way? And that's a way that doesn't suit him. I don't see that either. But then he isn't bombing us forward quite as much as he was previously. So I don't know if a Slot is encouraging him more to sit in. I mean, I think
that's his downfall, isn't it? He's getting exposed defensively. People always ridicule Trent on the right-hand side, but never Robertson in the last 5-6 years. But now it's defensively. He looks absolutely shot.
He does. And he looked at 6 and 7s against Saka. There's no doubt about that. He hasn't really been right since, but he was just back. And I don't know whether he's just not fit. I mean, it's a tough one. It doesn't look good. it does worry me slightly. He went away. He did all right with Scotland, didn't he? When he went away with them,
I think he always plays in 90 minutes, doesn't he?
yeah, he does. So I don't know
That
whether
will be helping at early 30s.
No, absolutely. And he's Scotland captain as well, so he ain't going to give that up anytime soon because he's a pretty proud guy. So I don't know. There is a case to go. We need to start looking if there is no underlying or long-term effects or short-term effects that they think are going to heal in time. But I am a little bit concerned because he's certainly the weak link in the team. And like I said to you, normally the best player in the opposition team plays right wing, so they'll just be up against him every time.
Yeah. But look, it's things to look forward to. Obviously, Jota's back, Alisson's back, Trent's back. Salah is still on fire, assists or goals every game. Gakpo's playing amazing. Gravenberch, I was just watching the segment on Monday Night Football. Did you just watch it with Thierry Henry?
No.
And Cara? They were just singing Gravenberch's praises, saying he was absolutely incredible. He just shielded the defence when we went down to 10 men. It's just a superb player. Just a note on Gravenberch, Obi. At what point do we say he's more than a player in great form and start calling him world class? Has he got to do this over a number of years, do you think?
Yeah,
like a couple of years at this level?
I would say so. I mean, what I would say he's got that he's not likely to lose because he's not going to play on pitches that are bad enough is his first touch is as good as anybody I've seen in professional football in a long time. Because his first touch is it's just remarkable, Scott. And the amount of times you see that, I don't know if they called that out in particular. His positionally he looks right now as well. And he can see the game. And it looks like it's easy to him. It really looks like it's easy to him. And he's just in the right place at the right time. He's quick enough. He's strong enough. But his first touch is something. It really is something else. And I really would ask anybody to watch it closely and what he does on a game-by-game basis, because his first touch is always perfect for his second touch to make the right pass or to control the ball or to shield the ball. He just knows how to touch a ball the first time, and that's a massive asset in any footballer.
Yeah, he's superb, isn't he? But let's just, we've got to have a mention for Man City, OB. It's deep into December. We're nearly reaching the halfway stage of the season. We're 9 points clear of Man City. I mean, forget Chelsea for now. Forget Arsenal. Notts Forest, they're up there. Villa. We're 9 points clear from Man City with a game in hand. Would have took that at the start of the season, wouldn't we?
I would have thought would have been 9 points clear at the top if you'd have told me that. Because I was expecting City to be the team to beat again. I don't think anyone saw this coming. It's a strange one, isn't it? Because you can
bizarre,
see,
isn't it?
You can see that they're actually panicking when they're playing, and that's confidence. That's how much confidence matters in football. And I suppose at elite level sport, if it's the extra 1 or 2% that makes a difference, and that 1 or 2% is confidence, and they've lost that, it takes a lot to get it back as well. It really does. Because every time something goes wrong in a game, and you can see it in moments, one little moment, and they were the better team yesterday. Let's make no bones about it. They weren't great, but they were the better team.
Not by far. It was just a dreadful game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And ultimately, I think he'll find a way in the end because Pep will, and he's too good a coach not to. But I do feel like he's not using some of the assets of some of the players that he's brought in. You look at Grealish, and I said this to you, Grealish is best centrally, and he's stuck him out wide since he's bought him. I think Núñez is an interesting one for them because I think he was a downgrade from what they had previously with the likes of the lad who won the league at Leicester. What was his name? Oh God, I can't remember his name. Mahrez. And people like that, they're actually downgrading. And they don't look as if they're developing the players. It actually looks like they're downgrading. Doku looks a good player, but he doesn't know what to
deceive in the first 3 months of last season, didn't he?
Yeah,
and now all Doku is now is plan B.
He is.
When things aren't going right for Man City, put Doku on the left and hope he creates something, and it's quite easy to shut out, really. It
reminds me a bit of a young Ronaldo, you know, when he was doing step overs and all these little tricks. He can move the ball so quick between his feet, and he does cause problems. But ultimately, there's no output and there's no end product. I do think there's a hell of a footballer in there, but they just need to work out how to utilise him properly, probably bring him a bit more narrow. And this is where I mean, I'm not telling Pep what to do because, to be honest with you, I'm enjoying it. But
Yeah.
I think they play too wide at times. And when things aren't going well, they're a little bit too exposed. So if you've got a few players who aren't in any sort of form, you've just got problems, haven't you, really?
That's the bizarre thing. There's so many players out of form. I mean, Haaland is just a ghost. When he's not scoring, what does he bring? Nothing. Foden, I don't think he's got a goal or an assist this season. Grealish,
No.
never see him anymore. I'm pretty sure he's an alcoholic now since they won the treble. I think he's, honestly, I look at him and think he's an alcoholic. There's problems there. It will come out in a year or two.
Yeah.
De Bruyne looks every year of his 33 years old now. I'm surprised he didn't go to Saudi in the summer. He was linked and then the window shut and he was still there. I don't know what happened there. Defensively, they're all over the shop. Apart from that Vardio, he is superb, to be fair. I think he might be the second top goal scorer, Vardio, now after Haaland.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
But look, Man City will get it right, Obi. Like you said at the top of this bit, talking about them, of course they will. It's Pep Guardiola, it's Man City. The January transfer window is coming up. But do you think they've left it too late to get it right this season? Do you think that's them out of it? They need a huge upturn now, don't they, to claw all this back?
If they went and won 20, what's the left? How many games is there left? Probably. If they went and win, I don't know, 16 games on a trot, Scott, they're right back in it. But that's the sort of momentum shift that they're going to have.
Yeah, probably. I think they're out of it myself. But while saying that, I was listening to TalkSport on the way home. If they go in and buy 3 top draw players in January, which they could do, they've got unlimited funds, as we all know. It could all turn around quick. You never know.
Wouldn't they have an FFP problem, though?
No, because they've kept their nose clean pretty much the last 4 or 5 years, haven't they? Because of this investigation.
Yeah, it must
they've
be all the other
balancing
charges.
The books. Yeah, it's all these charges. They've started keeping their nose clean. They've turned a profit in the last 5 years. With selling like Alvarez and Ferran Torres and all them. Yeah. It's incredible. So yeah, they'll have money to burn now. Next up is Southampton, and I've got to admit, I'll be absolutely raging if he goes strong in that. I want to just throw that League Cup, Haribo Cup in the bin. I'm not interested at all.
It depends what team he puts out. I think if he puts out some of the boys that we probably know are on the fringe, so starts for, I would say, Harvey Elliott, Kwanzaa, Tsimikas,
Kelleher. That's what I want. Yeah. I don't want to go anywhere near that first team.
No, absolutely.
I'd happily go out of it, and then we go head into the Spurs match on Sunday, full strength. Imagine we go strong in that, and someone pulls a hammy or someone's out, gets injured or something. This is where Arne Slot is obviously new to the league. Like, is he really eyeing a quadruple? He'd be stupid if he was. He's in a fantastic position. Yeah. The league in the Champions League, the rest in the bin.
What worries me is he's likely to play Van Dijk, and that's the one that bothers me more than anything else. Because if you look, he has to. He hasn't really got a choice unless he's brave enough to go with Gomez and Kwanzaa. But I can't see that working. I mean, the only thing is Southampton ain't got a manager, have they?
Yeah. And surely they'll put out the stiffs as well, won't they? They're going to go for Premier League survival, surely, if they've got a chance. I mean, they're cut adrift by quite a margin now, but would they go full strength?
Who's in charge for them?
I don't know.
I don't think they've even...
Egil Ostenstadt?
Maybe.
Kevin Davies.
Laurie McMenemy or someone like that. They'll drag someone out from the past. I don't even know. I mean, it's impossible to know because you don't know what will go through someone's mind who comes in. If it's someone trying to get the job, they might go all in, knowing that Liverpool might go weak. You know what I mean? Going, going to write this season off. But I tell you what, boys, we're not going to play about with it at the back. We're going to get it into the right areas, get into channels early, look to win the second ball, and maybe go that way.
Definitely. Football Frères just jumped in the chats. Jose, lovely to see you, brother. Will Liverpool bottle? Barca is bottling like Arsenal. Surely City can't come back from this. You never know, brother. Big up, boys. Big up to you too as well, Jose. Just a quick word on Spurs on Sunday. All I know, Obi, it'll be an absolute cracker of a game. We know that. You never know what you're going to get with Spurs. They pour forward. They're the highest goal scorers in the league. They concede goals for fun. It could be an absolute corker, but I don't want any of that. I'd just take a 1-0 win, a routine win. We've got to get back to picking up 3 points. We've got 4 games now in the league. It's Spurs, Leicester at home, away to West Ham, and then home to Man United.
Scott,
That's 12 points there.
No, I'm not even looking past that first game, because it's not going to be a 1-0. I'm telling you now. As much as we would all love it, a nice little secure 1-0 win, defensively sound, not really giving up any chances. It's just anything could happen in that game. It could go the same way as a Newcastle away game, where it's going to go to and fro, and I can just see a game like that, especially when Angie's up against it as well. They looked like they absolutely mauled Southampton with 5 goals in the first half last night. They've got that in the locker, and they've got that in the locker. They looked
completely amateurish against Chelsea, especially in that second half.
Absolutely,
it was farcical.
Absolutely, I think if you start matching them up, I don't think they should cause us any problems. Man for man, I think we'll have too much up front for their defence. It's just about how our defence performs, because I'm a little bit worried about them. We are starting to ship goals, and they can score and they can create from anywhere. And I've always rated Solanke, and I think he's someone that gives them a real target. He'll be a tough night's work for Van Dijk and whoever's next to him, likely Gomez. And he'll certainly look to target Gomez, I expect. And I think he'll cause him a lot of problems because he'll know him, won't he?
Yeah, definitely. Right, that's it. Obi, we need to start picking up some points, put a bit of energy back in this title charge.
Yeah, absolutely.
What better place to start than away to Spurs? It's going to be an absolute cracker of a game as we head into the Christmas fixtures. And we're going to be back on talking about it before, after, all over Christmas. We're going to see if we can get on, talk all things Liverpool. So make sure to tune in and join us if you can. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Obi, have a great week, brother.
And you. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Cheers, buddy.
Mellor, lovely cushioned header. But Gerrard! Oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What